G'day, I'm Clive and welcome back at the Armadale Reptile Centre with Lucy. And I'm looking at these shinglebacks today,
We are indeed.
also known as bobtails.
Yes.
So this pair we've got here.
So these are a very common pair you find around the Perth metro area, as in their colorations. So they do have very different colours. So you can see that the one on the left over here, he's very plain coloured. But the one on the right over here, he's quite orange. So they can be very varied in their coloration throughout the Perth region. So they have an incredible range of colour morphs between them.
They're both just as beautiful.
They are. They very much are.
So we're going to be looking at 3 different coloured.
So we'll look at a Goldfields one. So that's a very true orange and black coloured bobtail.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to look at a very special guy, Albie. He's one of our albino bobtails as well.
Okay, yeah.
So he's a true albino and he's pure white.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Sounds interesting, that one does.
Yes.
Remember to talk up, remind me, give me a nudge.
Yeah.
So what do people need to know about the shinglebacks?
So on the East Coast, they call them sleepy lizards or pinecone lizards as well. Pinecone lizards because of the way that they look.
Yeah, the pattern on their skin.
Yeah, and that's where the shinglebacks come from as well, is the idea that they look like the shingles, that you have on roofs and things like that.
Yep.
But in WA, we call them bobtails because of their bob's tail.
Yes.
So their big fat tail looks like their big fat head.
And it's on the move, aren't
They are. Once they get the idea, that's it. They're on the way.
Yep. Hello. Well, you want first too.
That's why the branches, they're a little bit hidden. They usually feel a lot more secure.
Now, what do these eat?
So these guys in the wild, they'll eat different sorts of insects, particularly slow-moving insects. So one of their favourite foods in the garden is usually snails. So they love to eat their snails because they're very, very slow. And they're nice and crunchy on the outside and soft and gooey on the inside. And but they'll also eat fruits, flowers, things like that they might find in the undergrowth. So they are pretty varied, but they are omnivorous. So they do eat both meats and fruit veggies type food groups.
Yep. I'll be getting up and down a lot today.
We are indeed. Is he going to sneak back under there?
I don't think he cares, does he?
No. Once they get the idea to explore, then off they go.
So these get mistaken for blue tongues, don't they?
They do. It's a very confusing way that they've named these animals. They've named the entire group of animals as blue tongue skinks, but then there's only one species within that entire group that is called a blue tongue skink. So they all have blue tongues in this family, but there's only one specific species called a blue tongue. So these guys, their technical term is a shingleback lizard. That is their species name. And in WA, we just decided to call them bobtails instead. We seem to do that in WA, name things something very different.
To everywhere else.
Yes. And that's reminiscent of the way that their head looks compared to their tail. So their bobbed tail or their short fat tail, looking like their short fat head as well. So most people, when they come across these guys, they know them from their display when they're feeling threatened. So they open their mouth out, they flatten their tongue out, and they kind of do a big blah sort of situation. And it's to scare off predators. So it's a bit big and scary situation for them. But ours are very used to being handled, so they won't do it for us today.
These are very timid. So
yes.
They're used to being around humans.
They are. They are very much used to being around humans.
Like having a pet cat. Just
It is. It
stroking.
is.
The eyes going.
They seem like they've got really strong armour, so all their armour down their body seems really strong and tough. Unfortunately, it's not.
No.
They are quite susceptible to attacks. So for rehab animals, we get a lot of dog attacks and car accidents. And unfortunately, they're not usually very viable, especially dog attacks.
Yeah.
But they also get a disease, a respiratory disease called the bobtail flu. And it's a highly, highly contagious flu that very similar to human flu. So it presents with, lethargy, sneezing, watery eyes. And for these guys, it just keeps progressing. And they just basically waste away because they can't go out and find anything to eat. They can't protect themselves. They can't find shelter. And it's not necessarily the disease that kills them, but just the fact that they waste away over time.
Put it on. So who have we got here?
So this is another colour morph. So this colour morph is what we call a goldfields bobtail. So goldfields is a region east of Perth in WA. These bobtails are characterised by their really strong black and orange coloration on their bodies. Mm-hmm. So particularly on his face you can see it, and then down his body you can see the orange and the black. So it's the only part of WA where that really strong coloration comes into effect, and that's to do with the environment that they're in. So when you go out towards the east, you get a lot more orangey colours in the environment, so that's what they have to help camouflage themselves into it.
For those from abroad, the goldfields is around Kalgoorlie, which is just over 600 kilometres east from Perth. You're getting closer and closer to the big deserts.
They are, yes. They're a very common colour morph in captivity. So for pets, people like to have this colour because it can be a really striking coloration to observe. Whereas the ones we have around Perth are usually a bit... They can have colours to them, but they're usually a lot duller in their coloration. Especially one of the ones that we saw before on the table. He's very just plain grey, blacky, just kind of solid colour sort of situation.
And then mating, babies, how many do they have?
On average, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So when the babies are born, they're fully functional mini adults. So when they're born, they're actually quite large. So a mother usually only fits 1 or 2 babies in her body. It is possible for them to have 3 or 4 babies, but when that occurs, often there's issues with the babies once they're born. They're malnourished, they're underdeveloped, they've got issues, conditions, something's usually wrong with them. And mum also doesn't always survive having 3 or 4 babies because it takes a toll on her. She'd having 3 babies when you're only supposed to have 1 or 2 can really cause a lot of stress on her body.
We're going to have a look at another one now, aren't we?
Yes, so we've got a really special one. His name is Albie, and he's a fully pure albino bobtail. So albino bobtails are, as the name suggests, completely lacking in any and all pigment on their whole body. So you can see how striking his colours are, but the other interesting thing that albinos have, you'll be able to see his eye, the colour of his eye, and the colour of his tongue is very blue. So when we look at Albie, that's going to be different as well.
So are these, when you say people keep them as pets, but you'll get shinglebacks around Perth in your backyard, you'll see them? Yes,
yeah. Yeah, but you can have them on a special reptile licence as well.
Yeah.
But they're animals that have been born and bred in captivity. They're not from the wild. This is Albie. Albie's our true albino bobtail. So that means he lacks all pigment to his body. So obvious one is his coloration. He's really, really pale, yellowy white coloration. But then it'll also be his eyes. So a normal bobtail has brown eyes. He has pink. And normal bobtails have a blue tongue. His is pink. So he lacks 100% any pigment to his body.
Yeah, he's got no energy as well at the moment. He's
No,
just asleep,
unfortunately,
with
with albino animals, they don't always get out of it without any other medical issues.
Yeah.
So Albie struggles a lot with his coordination, and he doesn't have a very high energy level. We also have to be very careful because we have UV in his enclosure, but because he lacks pigment, UV rays can be quite damaging to his body. So we have to be very conscious of allowing him to have UV, but not too strong. Whereas most animals can tolerate quite a lot, we have to be very careful with him, not to give him UV burns.
Poor little bugger, aren't you? Eh?
Yes. Hey, you gonna wake up and say hello?
Just see his eyes. There you go.
So you can also get leucistic coloured bobtails, and leucistic means lack of pigment. So it's not entirely gone, they've just got less pigment than an average bobtail.
Yeah.
So they tend to still have the brown eyes and the blue tongue, but they tend to have a pale body as well.
Are you saying them being like lethargic and that? So the more albino they are, the worse that condition is?
It just depends. I mean, some albinos can be perfectly healthy and you know, active and pretty much exactly the same as a normal coloured individual. It's just the likelihood of other issues popping up is higher for an albino animal than an average coloured animal. He was just unlucky. We're not too sure where he was born, where he came from. He came to the centre probably about 12 years ago now, and he's been with us ever since. So we estimate he could be getting up to his 20s, if not older.
Wow.
So he's also a very much older individual. He's had lots and lots of energy, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it's slowly starting to dip as he gets older.
You're still beautiful, aren't you, little buddy? Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, a little sniff.
Hopefully he'll stick his tongue out, but
No. Doesn't want to.
whenever they're on film, they never do quite what you need them to do.
Oh, he tasted my finger and that was it. Yeah.
So he gets hand fed whenever he gets fed because he does have coordination issues.
Yeah.
So he does get a lot of assistance when feeding.
And we've got to bring up the misconception. Get off him, Mozzie. That when you see bobtails, there's no snakes.
Yes, I have heard that one before. Unfortunately, I can confirm that it's not true. It is incorrect.
Yep.
Particularly because a lot of snakes, venomous snakes in particular, will and can eat reptiles, including bobtails. So, no, unfortunately not. If you have bobtails in your garden, it's great, but that does not mean the snake might not then come around and claim that territory for itself instead.
That's his dining table sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not a common food source for a lot of snakes, is other reptiles, at least in the Perth area, but it is a food source that they will exploit if it's there. Particularly when you get to your brown snakes like dugites. I've personally seen a dugite eating a bobtail, so no. Sadly no. But having bobtails in your garden is great. If you've got a veggie patch, they will do well at keeping your snails at bay and your slugs at bay. you may lose a few strawberries or cherry tomatoes or fruit and veggie in the process.
That's
but
worthwhile.
I think it's a tax that is a well-deserved tax for them. And they do, in a sense, they do mate for life. So by that it means that they will come back to the same areas during the breeding season. So that's why people will often see the same bobtails in their garden every spring, summer. So they will come back and tend to breed with the same partner in the same areas if they can. But that's not to say if one partner doesn't arrive in that season, they will find another partner and have that partner instead. So they don't stop breeding if one partner dies, but they will always try and find the same partner. And it will typically always generally be the same area they'll all come back to in spring, summer, to mate, have their babies. Then their babies grow up and then off they go to find somewhere to hide for winter.
There you go, just see his tongue now, it is pink, no blue.
Yes, very pink.
There it is, that's a better shot.
There's not many of these in the hobby or at parks.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it with him. Mr. Special, isn't he? What I want to do again is thank Lucy for having us here and telling us all about the shinglebacks and showing us the 3 different morphs, the different colour variants. Always a pleasure to be able to come here and get close up with these little fellas. Oh, here we go, he wants to get closer and closer. He's spoilt doing this. So thank you again.
You're very welcome.
So if you've enjoyed the video and you're not a subscriber, just go down below and click on the subscribe button. Click on the notification bell next to it and select all so you can be notified of all future videos. And hit the thumbs up button and like. And if you are already a subscriber, again, I thank you very much.